The night sky burned with fire as the warships came without warning. Their shadows stretched across cities and forests, swallowing everything beneath them. No one had expected the attack to come so soon, and no one believed the aliens would be this ruthless. Towers fell, oceans boiled, and the ground shook as their weapons cut through defenses like paper. Humanity fought back with everything it had, but the truth was cruel. They were outnumbered and outgunned. Fear spread faster than fire, and hope seemed like a memory. Yet in the middle of all this chaos, something strange was discovered, something that would change everything. A small crash site appeared in the deep woods of Eastern Europe, far from the main battle zones. Soldiers sent to investigate expected to find enemy scouts. Instead, they found a cage of golden metal twisted open, and inside lay a girl. She was not human, yet her appearance was close enough to steal their breath away. Her skin was pale with a silver glow, her hair a river of light blue, and her eyes too large and bright to belong to any earthborn being. She looked fragile, dressed in tattered ornaments that once spoke of royalty. She raised her head weakly and whispered in a language no translator could catch. But one word stood out clear, spoken with fear and desperation. "Help." The soldiers froze. This was no enemy soldier. She was young, unarmed, and terrified. Their commander wanted to end it quickly. An alien was an alien, and mercy was not in the orders. But one soldier stepped forward, lowering his weapon. He saw not a threat, but a prisoner. The golden cage around her was not of human design, nor did it belong to her attackers. Someone had captured her, and she had escaped. His decision in that moment broke protocol. He lifted her gently, ignoring the shouts of his commander, and carried her toward safety. That soldier would later be cursed by his superiors and hunted by his enemies, for in saving her, he had changed the course of two worlds. The girl's name was Alira. She spoke little, but her eyes told of endless sorrow. In the ruins of a farmhouse, she sat by the fire, clutching a broken necklace shaped like two circles joined together. When asked, she only whispered, "Two worlds, one fate." No one understood what it meant. She shivered at every sound of battle, but there was also something powerful hidden in her silence. It was as if she carried knowledge too heavy for her fragile frame. The soldier who had saved her began to notice strange things. Machines that had broken down flickered back to life when she passed by, and the forest animals drew near to her instead of fleeing. It was clear Alira was not ordinary. Back at command, the army argued. Some demanded she be turned over for study. Others wanted her executed before she could be used against them. But a few, those who had seen her eyes, believed she held answers no weapon could give. Still, no one knew the truth, that the war was not only between aliens and humans, but between two alien empires, and Alira was the daughter of one of their fallen houses. Her secret was dangerous, and it was locked inside her heart. If revealed, it could save both humanity and her own kind, or doom them both forever. When news of her spread through the ranks, distrust grew. Soldiers whispered of curses and spies, of a girl too beautiful to be real. The enemy, it was said, wanted her dead. Why then had humanity saved her? Why protect someone who carried the blood of those who had burned their cities? The soldier who had saved Alira became her shield against both his own people and hers. He did not know why he trusted her, only that when she looked at him with those glowing eyes, he felt something no battlefield had ever given him: hope. The attacks grew heavier, and the enemy pressed closer. Humanity's cities were breaking. One by one, leaders demanded decisions. The alien girl must speak, or she must die. But Alira did not speak. Not yet. She waited, as if for the right moment, as if the truth she carried was not meant for all, but for one. The soldier stayed with her through the long nights, listening to her quiet breaths as the world burned outside. And then one night, as the sky glowed red with falling ships, She finally whispered to him words that made his blood run cold. "They want me dead because I know how to stop them. But if I speak, humanity will never be the same." And with that, the war was no longer just a fight for survival. It was a test of trust, a gamble of faith, and the beginning of a decision only humanity could make. The war did not slow down. Every hour brought new attacks, new flames swallowing cities, and new losses that carved deep wounds into humanity's spirit. In the underground bunkers where leaders gathered, voices rose in anger and fear. Humanity had faced wars before, but never like this. The enemy seemed endless, their fleets blotting out the stars, their machines crushing every defense line. Yet in those same halls of desperation, one name began to spread in whispers: Alira, the alien girl who might know something no one else did. The soldier who had rescued her kept close watch, never letting her out of sight. To him, Alira was not a weapon, not a spy, but a fragile life worth protecting. Yet every day, questions pressed heavier on him. Who was she really? Why had her enemies locked her inside a golden cage? And what secret did she carry that could turn the tide of war? Her silence became as heavy as the bombs that shook the earth above their bunker. Still, he chose to believe her eyes, those vast, glowing eyes that seemed to carry galaxies within them. At night, when the others slept, Alira spoke only to him. Her voice was soft, almost trembling, yet filled with a weight far older than her. Youthful face. "Two worlds," she repeated, "yours and mine. Both will fall if one is lost." The soldier pressed her to explain, but she only shook her head, whispering, "Not yet, too many ears." It was clear she feared not only the enemy beyond the skies, but also those within the bunker walls. Her secret, whatever it was, demanded trust, and she had chosen to give that trust only to him. But humanity was running out of patience. The Council of Generals demanded results. Alira was brought before them, her wrists bound though she did not resist. They questioned her in harsh voices, demanding to know the enemy's plans, their weaknesses, their goals. But she remained silent, trembling under their eyes but refusing to speak. One of the generals slammed his fist against the table and declared her useless. Another muttered that she should be executed before she betrayed them. Only one voice stood against the tide, that of the soldier who had saved her. He stood firm, declaring she was not their enemy, that she carried knowledge they could not yet understand. His words earned him glares of hatred and whispers of disloyalty. That night, Alira wept. Not loudly, but with silent tears that slid down her pale cheeks. The soldier knelt beside her, unsure of what to say. She reached out and placed the broken necklace into his hands. The twin circles shimmered faintly in the dim light. "This is the bond of two worlds," she whispered. "It is broken because the balance is broken. My people once swore to protect life, but they betrayed that vow. Now they seek only power. If they destroy humanity, the chain is gone forever." The soldier finally understood her secret was not just knowledge, it was heritage. She was part of something greater, a line of rulers or guardians, bound to protect not just her people, but all life connected to them. The enemy hunted her not simply because of who she was, but because of what she represented, the last chance at restoring the broken balance between worlds. But there was more in her eyes, something she still held back. The following day, the enemy descended upon the region with terrifying force. Bombardments shook the ground, and alarms screamed through the bunkers. Soldiers rushed to their stations, but the defenses were already crumbling. In the chaos, Alira clutched the soldier's arm and whispered, "It is time. Take me to the highest ground. Only there can I show you what I carry." Against orders, against reason, he obeyed. Together, they slipped away from the bunker while shells rained fire upon the earth, through forests burning at the edges, through fields torn apart by machines. They climbed the rocky hills until they reached the peak where the sky glowed crimson with war. Illyra raised her hand, and for the first time, her secret began to reveal itself. The air shimmered, the broken necklace glowing in her palm. Above them, the sky split with light, not from ships, but from stars themselves. A hidden map burned into existence, showing routes, gateways, and energy lines that no human eye had ever seen. The soldier gasped. It was a star chart, but unlike any human had made. It showed not only space, but threads of power binding worlds together, glowing veins of life across the galaxy. Two threads shone brighter than the rest, entwined but fraying Earth and Illyra's homeworld. If one thread snapped, the other would unravel too. Humanity's fate was tied directly to hers. "This is what they fear," she whispered, her voice shaking. "They fear I will give this to you. They fear you will know the truth, that humanity is not just a target, but a key. Your kind terrifies them, because you are not bound by the chains they forged long ago. You are free. And freedom is what they fear most." The soldier stared at her, realization crashing upon him like thunder. Humanity was not fighting for survival alone. They were fighting for something far larger, a balance of worlds, a truth hidden in the stars. And now, with Illyra's secret revealed, one choice stood before him: share it with humanity and risk everything, or keep it hidden and protect her. The war was no longer just about weapons. It was about decisions, trust, and the fragile bond between two very different beings who now held the fate of two worlds in their hands. The soldier had seen many things in battle, but never anything like what Illyra had revealed. The glowing star chart above them shimmered like a living thing, threads of light binding worlds together in fragile harmony. He could hardly breathe as he stared at it. Earth's thread pulsed weakly, stretched thin by endless war, while Illyra's world flickered beside it, close to breaking. Together, they looked like a pair of dying stars clinging to each other in the void. Illyra lowered her hand, and the vision faded, leaving only smoke and fire from the burning forests below. "You see now," she whispered, her voice trembling. "If Earth falls, so will my world. And if mine burns first, your people will follow. Into ruin, two worlds bound, two destinies locked." The soldier gripped the broken necklace tighter. The truth was heavier than any weapon. Humanity had always believed it was fighting for survival alone. Now he knew they were part of something far greater, a cosmic balance. Yet the question still burned inside him. Why trust this alien girl? Why believe that she was not deceiving them? He looked into her glowing eyes and found no malice there, only fear and desperation. That was enough for him, but would it be enough for the rest of humanity? Their return to the bunker was not silent. Drones had tracked them, and the forest echoed with the whine of engines. The soldier dragged Illyra into the shadows, firing at the machines until sparks lit the night. Illyra closed her eyes and reached out, not with weapons, but with something unseen. The machines faltered, their lights flickering as though an unseen force gripped them. Then, with a burst of static, they collapsed, lifeless husks smoking in the dirt. The soldier stared in shock. Illyra opened her eyes, tears streaming down her cheeks. "I cannot hold them for long," she said softly. "But I can slow them, enough to keep you alive." By the time they stumbled back into the bunker, whispers had already spread of their absence. The generals met them with fury. "You endangered the mission," one barked. "You led the enemy to us," another accused. Illyra stood silently, her eyes lowered, while the soldier held his ground. He demanded they listen, demanded they see what he had seen. But when he described the star chart, the generals only sneered. "A trick," one spat. "Illusions too. Weaken us, she is the enemy, and you are a fool." The council voted. Illyra was to be imprisoned, her fate decided after further interrogation. The soldier felt his blood boil, but he was only one man against many. Illyra looked at him once as guards dragged her away. Her lips formed silent words. Trust. That single word struck deeper than any order. In the days that followed, the war grew worse. Cities vanished overnight, swallowed by fire from orbit. Humanity's defenses broke line after line. Fear spread, and whispers of betrayal filled the camps. Some soldiers cursed Alira's name, calling her a curse that had brought ruin. Others wondered why the enemy seemed desperate to kill her above all else. To them, it was proof she was valuable. The soldier could not rest. He replayed the memory of the star chart, the way the threads had glowed, the way Alira had shaken with fear as she revealed it. He knew it was not a trick. He knew she held the key to something larger than any of them. Yet he also knew that humanity's leaders would never believe until they were forced to. And by then, it might be too late. One night, alarms screamed through the bunker. Enemy forces had found them. Explosions rocked the underground chambers, and the walls cracked with fire. Amid the chaos, the soldier rushed to the cells. He found Alira on her knees, her wrists bound, her eyes wide with terror. Without hesitation, he cut her free. Together, they fled through collapsing halls as dust rained down and soldiers screamed. Outside, under the burning sky, Alira collapsed, gasping for air. The soldier knelt beside her, shielding her from falling debris. "You must tell me everything," he demanded. "No more secrets. If we are to survive, I need the truth now." Alira looked at him, her face pale but determined. She lifted the necklace once more, its circles glowing faintly. "My people were once guardians," she said. "We protected the balance of life between worlds, but greed corrupted them. They sought power, not balance. When I opposed them, they caged me, locked me away so my knowledge would die. But I escaped. And now they fear I will give humanity what they cannot destroy, the truth that you are not prey, but protectors. You are the missing half of the balance. That is why they fear you." The soldier's heart pounded. It was more than he had imagined. Humanity was not weak, not helpless, not doomed to be consumed. They were the answer Alira's people could not control. And that meant the war was not hopeless. It was just beginning. The night blazed as enemy ships descended, their shadows stretching. Across the horizon, Alira stood, her frail body trembling, but her eyes glowing with fierce light. She looked at the soldier and spoke with steady conviction. "It is time to decide. Will you keep me safe and trust me, or will you hand me over to those who will kill us both? Humanity must choose, and its choice will decide the fate of two worlds." The soldier raised his weapon, not at Alira, but at the sky above. "Then let them come," he said, his voice hard as steel. "We'll give them their answer." And so began the fight, not only for survival, but for the truth Alira carried, the truth that could save both worlds or destroy them together. Battle outside the bunker was fierce. Flames painted the sky red as ships clashed in the upper atmosphere. The soldier and Alira ran through the ruins, the sound of collapsing steel and screaming engines behind them. Humanity's forces were breaking under the assault. The soldier knew that if they stayed, they would both be buried. Alira clutched the broken necklace to her chest, whispering words in her own language. The glow from the twin circles pulsed. Like a heartbeat, as if alive, they escaped into the countryside, hiding among shattered villages where silence hung heavier than smoke. Survivors looked at Alira with suspicion, some with fear, some with awe. She was unlike any being they had seen before. Children stared at her glowing eyes, their fear softening into curiosity, but their parents dragged them away, muttering that she was a curse. The soldier defended her at every turn, but he knew their whispers would spread. Humanity was divided. Half of them wanted her destroyed, the other half wanted her secret revealed. Alira carried both hope and danger in equal measure. One night, as they camped in the hollow of a ruined church, Alira finally spoke of the chains her people had built. "Long ago," she said softly, my people discovered the threads that bind worlds together. They use them to grow powerful, to conquer, to shape destiny. But the balance is fragile. If one world is broken, others suffer. That is why your kind terrifies them. Humanity was not meant to be part of the chain, yet you broke through it. You are free where others are bound. That freedom is your greatest strength and their greatest fear. The soldier listened, his fists clenched. All his life, he had believed humanity was weak, always behind in the great race of civilizations. Now Illyra's words made him see differently. They were not weak, they were unpredictable. That was what made them dangerous to empires built on control. He felt pride swell inside him, but also dread. If humanity was truly the key, then every mistake they made could doom both their world and Illyra's. Days later, word reached them that the Human Council had placed a bounty on Illyra's head. Soldiers were ordered to bring her in, alive or dead. To the council, she was no longer a girl but a liability. Rumors said she had bewitched the soldier, that she was a siren luring him to betrayal. His name was now spoken in the same tone as traitors. He knew it was only a matter of time before his own people came hunting, and they did. At dawn, armored vehicles surrounded the village where they hid. Loudspeakers boomed commands. Surrender. The alien girl. Humanity must be protected from her lies. The villagers stepped back, afraid. Some pointed toward the church, desperate to save themselves. The soldier pulled Illyra through the back doors, but troops closed in from every side. With no escape, Illyra stepped forward. The soldier tried to hold her back, but she placed a trembling hand on his chest. "They must see," she whispered. "They must see with their own eyes, or the choice will never be theirs." She raised the necklace high, and light burst into the sky. The star chart reappeared, vast and shimmering, casting its glow across the ruined village. Soldiers froze, their weapons trembling in their hands as they stared at the cosmic web binding worlds together. The glowing threads pulsed, showing Earth entwined with Illyra's world. Her voice rang out, not soft this time but clear and commanding. "This is the truth. Kill me, and you kill yourselves. Destroy my world, and your Earth will fall with it. Your leaders hide this because they fear you will choose differently than they command. But I give you the choice now. Decide not with fear, but with freedom." The soldiers stood in stunned silence. Some lowered their weapons, faces pale with awe. Others snarled that it was nothing but a trick. The commander, red-faced with anger, raised his pistol. "Enough lies!" he roared. But before he could fire, the ground shook violently. Enemy ships descended, blotting out the sun. The battle became chaos. Humans and enemies clashed in the streets while the soldier shielded Illyra, dragging her through smoke and gunfire. To his shock, some of the very soldiers sent to capture her now fought at their side, firing at the enemy with renewed fury. They had seen the star chart, and belief had changed them. That night, they found shelter in a cavern beneath the mountains. The soldier watched Illyra by the fire, her face glowing in the flames. She looked weary, but her eyes still burned with determination. "Now they know," she said quietly. "Some will follow, some will hate, but the truth cannot be hidden anymore." The soldier nodded, though his heart felt heavy. "The council will not forgive you. Or me. They do not have to," Illyra answered. "What matters is the choice. Your people must choose what they will become, slaves of fear or guardians of freedom." For the first time, the soldier understood that Illyra's secret was not only about survival, it was about destiny. Humanity was no longer a victim in this war. They had the chance to become something greater, something feared and respected across the stars. But to reach that future, they would have to fight not only their enemies, but also themselves that far above. The night sky shimmered with streaks of fire as ships burned in the atmosphere. Illyra lifted her gaze and whispered, "Two worlds. One fate, the end is coming. And the soldier knew she was right. The time for hiding was over. The time for humanity to decide had begun. The cavern trembled as distant battle shook the mountains above. Smoke seeped through cracks in the stone, the faint taste of ash clinging to every breath. Illyra sat silently, her necklace glowing faintly in her hands while the soldier paced restlessly by the fire. He had fought many battles, but never against his own people. Now, with Illyra's secret spreading, humanity itself was breaking apart. Some believed her, some cursed her name, and the council demanded her death more fiercely than ever. The soldier knew they could not hide much longer. The next day, they emerged to find the world changed. Villages were abandoned, cities swallowed by ruins, but not all was despair. In the shadows, groups of human rebels gathered, soldiers and civilians alike, united by what they had seen. They called themselves the Boundless, and they swore loyalty not to the council, but to the truth Illyra had revealed. They believed that humanity was destined to be more than prey, destined to take its place as a force that even alien empires could not control. When Illyra stood before them, they knelt, not out of fear but out of hope. Yet hope was fragile. The council saw these rebels as traitors. Armies marched against their own kind, and humanity's war became not only against aliens, but against itself. Civil war erupted in the ruins, human against human, while the true enemy watched from above. Illyra's heart broke as she watched men and women kill each other in her name. "This was not what I wanted," she whispered, her glowing eyes filled with tears. "Your people should be united, not torn apart because of me." The soldier placed a hand on her shoulder. "They are not fighting because of you. They are fighting because of choice. Some fear it, some embrace it, but choice is freedom. That is what makes us human." Still, the division grew. Villages that once sheltered them now barred their doors, afraid of retribution. Soldiers who once swore loyalty now hunted the soldier. Like a traitor, the Boundless protected them as best they could, but every day brought new losses. The soldier knew that this could not last. They needed something more powerful than speeches, more undeniable than visions. They needed proof that Illyra's words were not lies. That proof came sooner than expected. One night, as the Boundless camped by the ruins of an ancient city, the skies split with fire. Not alien ships this time, but a rift of light tearing through the heavens. Illyra collapsed, clutching her chest, her necklace blazing like a star. The soldier caught her as she trembled violently. "What's happening?" he demanded. Illyra's voice shook as she whispered, "The chain is breaking. My world is failing. And if it falls, Earth will follow." Before their eyes, the rift widened, and images bled into the sky. They saw Illyra's homeworld, vast and beautiful once, now burning under the weight of war. Towers crumbled, oceans boiled, and her people screamed as fire consumed their cities. The Boundless fell silent, staring in awe and horror. There could be no denial now. The fates of the two worlds were bound, just as Illyra had said. Word spread quickly. Across surviving human networks, the vision was recorded and broadcast. For the first time, ordinary people saw the truth with their own eyes. Some wept, realizing Illyra had spoken nothing but truth. Others raged, saying it was a trap, that she was luring humanity into the same doom that had consumed her own. The council hardened its stance, declaring Illyra an existential threat. They swore to kill her, even if it meant silencing every rebel. Who protected her? The soldier knew the final confrontation was coming. Illyra's secret could no longer be hidden, and humanity was being pushed to a decision it could not escape. That night, as fires burned across the horizon, Illyra sat beside him, her face pale but her gaze steady. "They will come for me soon. Your people, my enemies, everyone. They will not stop. You must choose now. Will you protect me to the end, or hand me over to save yourself?" The soldier looked at her. seeing not just an alien girl, but the fragile thread connecting two worlds. He thought of the children who had looked at her without fear, of the soldiers who had fought beside her. After seeing the star chart, of the rebels who now carried her name like a banner. He thought of the hope she carried, a hope that had no place in war, yet had grown stronger than any weapon. "I already chose," he said quietly, "the moment I lifted you from that cage. I will not abandon you now." Tears filled her eyes, but she smiled for the first time. A soft, fragile smile, but one filled with light. "Then together we will decide the fate of both our worlds." At dawn, the enemy descended again, this time not only the alien empire, but human forces loyal to the Council. Tanks rolled, ships darkened the sky, and the ruins shook with thunder. Two armies converged on one place, their only goal to take. Illyra, the Boundless, raised their weapons, ready to die for her. The soldier stood at the front, Illyra beside him, her necklace glowing brighter than ever. The battle began in fire and steel. Human fought human, alien fought all, and the earth cracked under the weight of destruction. Illyra stood tall amid the chaos, her voice rising above the clash. "Stop this," she cried. "Do not destroy what binds you. Choose not chains, but freedom." Some soldiers hesitated, their weapons trembling. Others pressed forward, blind with rage. But as the smoke rose and the sky burned, it became clear humanity's choice could no longer be delayed. The fate of two worlds would be decided in the fire of this battle, and Illyra's secret would either save them or doom them forever. The battlefield was chaos. Fire streaked across the sky as alien warships unleashed their fury, and the thunder of human tanks echoed through the ruins. Smoke and ash choked the air. Soldiers screamed, weapons blazed, and still Illyra stood at the center, her necklace glowing brighter with every heartbeat. The Boundless fought desperately around her, their cries of defiance ringing through the chaos, while the soldier kept her shielded with every ounce of strength he had left. The Council's armies surged forward. Their commanders barked orders to take Illyra alive, but fear and rage drove many to raise their weapons to kill her instead. The soldier cut them down without hesitation, his body a wall between her and the storm. He was bleeding, exhausted, but unyielding. When Illyra looked at him, she saw not just a protector, but the very spirit of humanity, defiant, unbroken, willing to stand against impossible odds. Above them, alien ships descended lower, their cannons preparing to end the might battle in one devastating strike. Illyra gasped, clutching her necklace tighter. "If they fire, it will destroy everything," she whispered. "Human, alien, all of us, the chain will break forever." The soldier turned to her, his face smeared with dirt and blood, his eyes burning with determination. "Then it's time. Show them everything, don't hold back." Illyra closed her eyes. The broken necklace in her hand flared like a sun, and the battlefield froze. Every soldier, human and alien, stopped as the sky split open with light. Once again, the star chart appeared, but this time it was vast beyond comprehension. The cosmic thread stretched in every direction, binding world after world, weaving an endless web of life. And in the center of it all, two threads pulsed together, Earth and Illyra's world, tied like twins sharing the same heartbeat. Her voice rang out, louder than the cannons, stronger than the screams. "This is the truth. My people betrayed the balance, and your people now carry its weight. Kill me, and you kill yourselves. Destroy my world, and your earth will fall. But if you choose differently, if you choose to protect instead of destroy, chain can be restored, two worlds can live. But only if humanity decides to rise beyond fear." The battlefield shook with silence. Soldiers lowered their weapons, staring at the vision above them. Some dropped to their knees, weeping. Others shouted that it was lies. The Council's commander raised his pistol, his voice breaking with rage. "Do not listen. She will damn us all." He fired at Illyra, but the bullet never reached her. The soldier stepped in front of her, taking the shot in his chest. He staggered but did not fall, gripping his weapon with one hand, Alira's glowing necklace with the other. His voice cut through the silence. No more chains, no more lies. Humanity chooses freedom. The Boundless roared, their voices shaking. The earth, even among the Council's troops, hesitation broke into defiance. Soldiers turned on their commanders, refusing to kill the girl who now stood like a beacon in the storm. The alien invaders, sensing the shift, unleashed their fire. But this time, humanity stood together. Boundless and Council soldiers alike raised their weapons against the skies. United for the first time in generations, Alira fell to her knees beside the soldier, tears streaming down her glowing face. She pressed the necklace to his chest. "Do not die," she whispered. "Not now. You are the proof they needed." The necklace flared, and light surged through his body. His wounds sealed, his breath steadied, and strength returned to his limbs. When he rose, soldiers stared in awe. Alira had not saved him, humanity's choice had. By choosing unity, the chain had begun to mend. Above, the alien ships faltered. The threads of the star chart pulsed brighter, sending waves of energy through the sky. Cannons failed, engines sputtered, and the enemy fleet broke apart as if torn by unseen hands. Alira's people had built their power on chains, but the chains no longer held. Humanity had shattered them with choice. The battle ended not in fire, but in silence. The enemy fled, their empire shaken to its core. Humanity stood victorious, but more importantly, united. For the first time, the Boundless and the Council looked at each other, not as enemies, but as survivors bound by something greater. Alira arose, her strength fading but her smile radiant. She looked at the soldier with glowing eyes full of gratitude. "It is done," she whispered. "Two worlds will live. Because you chose to be more than prey." The soldier looked back at the armies gathered, at humans who had been divided only hours before, but now stood shoulder to shoulder. He raised his weapon high. "We are free," he said, "and we will never be chained again." The cheers shook the earth. From that day, the story of Alira and the human who defied both his enemies and his leaders spread across the stars. Humanity had not only survived, it had proven itself the one force the galaxy could not control. And in doing so, it had saved not one world, but two. The alien girl's secret was no longer a burden, it was a bond. A bond that would shape the destiny of both her kind and humanity forever.